Simon says record video.
Please.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
Whoa.
Hang on.
Is that better?
No, not at all. Okay, now I'm good.
Are we good?
Now we're good.
Perfect. Hello, welcome back to the third video in this course. This video is going to be all about audio editing. Software.
Dustin's specialty.
So yeah, this is what this episode is going to be all about. As you can see, we're recording into the headsets right now.
Yep.
That's because when we go in to edit the audio, we'll be using this recording just as a demo, and we'll give you a step-by-step tutorial of how to edit and fully produce an episode.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which is going to work. It's going to work really well.
It will work beautifully. You guys will be able to hear exactly what it sounds like. So,
right.
You'll be getting the audio as we are hearing it.
Absolutely.
It'll be perfect. And we're recording on everything that we normally record with. We've got the headsets, the H6, all this stuff that we've talked to you guys about. It just, again, shows you the versatility of this equipment that we utilize.
And I think we should you want to show them what we got going on here with the computer and how we got the sound feeding in?
I'm kind of afraid to move these.
Well, we can
here.
We can do it later.
Okay.
So
yeah, let's actually do that.
I think that'd be kind of cool to show.
A little bonus.
Yeah, definitely.
I love that.
So what we're actually going to do is, since we need you guys to be able to hear the audio while we're editing it, we actually have the audio feeding from the computer to the Zoom being recorded in real time.
As the same time as this is being recorded now.
Using the same system, right? Using the same system that we used for Skype. When we were talking to you about Skype, showing you the Zoom, this is how you would record a Skype conversation. So yeah, and this is actually going to be the first video where we tell you about an option that you don't have to pay for.
Right.
Right. So, we've talked about investment and the equipment, and what we have is a little bit more of a higher level. Once you get to that point, you want to get the Zoom and all that. And then, of course, Libsyn is going to cost you a monthly fee. The software that we use is completely free.
Huge plus.
Completely free, and it is, in my opinion, I love it. I wouldn't use anything else because I've just become so accustomed to it. So we'll show you everything. All right, guys. Real quick, like we just said, we want to show you the setup we got going on here. So as you can see, we showed you how to set up the Audio Technicas to this Zoom H6. We got those set up, so we were recording into these Audio Technicas here just for that last segment. And then what we also have here is, like I showed you, for the Skype option, or for any audio recording, really good option that I just thought of for this would be if you wanted to record, say you wanted to review a video or talk about some sort of, for example, these videos that are being posted around, the Black Lives Matter thing. If you wanted to do that in real time, have the audio from those videos, and you'd be talking and directly be talking about them, you could have this feeding in from your PC or even your phone, right? So we have just a simple auxiliary cord that we fed in to the Mac, as you can see around the back here. It's fed in just to the headphone jack of the Mac, and that is going to act as this independent line, audio line, right there. Yeah, so that's how we have this going here, and you'll be able to hear the audio as we edit it in real time on the software that we use. So we'll jump right into that. All right, so as you can see here, we are in Audacity. You can see right here, Audacity, and this is completely free audio editing software. So you just go to them directly, Google search it, and you'll be able to download this software for free. I highly recommend using Audacity. Audacity is amazing. I actually prefer it over a lot because it's probably because I'm a little biased and I've used it a lot more than most and I know how to work it. But at the same time, once you delve into it and you learn, it's super easy. Super easy. You can edit an episode really, really quickly and you're good to go.
It's hard to beat for free software.
Oh, definitely. It definitely is. So going in here, you want to go to File. So we got to get our audio in here, and we'll import them as they'll all come up as independent audio waves, and you'll see that in just a second here. So we'll go to File, Import, and first thing we want to import here is our intro. So we'll go here. So this is our intro. We've done a couple different intros. This is our most recent one. So we'll play this back real quick. And to play it back, you can either click here, mark the cursor, and hit play, or you can just click up here in the timeline and play it back.
Welcome to the official Forge Your Potential podcast. My name is Connor Skeen.
And my name is Dustin Stevens.
We're here to lift you up, to awaken your potential,
to challenge your perspectives, to inspire you to push further.
So as you can see, that is our intro, and it'll go all the way up until it fades out here. And wherever you stop in the timeline is where the audio will export to. So you don't have to worry about it exporting. That was my concern initially, was it exporting beyond that, because the timeline goes further than that, right? But that's just to give you a little extra room to work with. It'll actually export up until the very end of wherever you're at in the timeline. So now that we have our intro music done, we want to upload or import the actual content. So go to File again, Import, Audio, go to Desktop, and then we want to find it here. So what we'll show you right here, these are the two we need. And what the Zoom will do is it'll export each track independently, which is really, really nice, and it can also be really, really irritating. You can change the settings on the Zoom to export it as a whole, but I like having different audio for each person to work with.
What are some of the benefits of that?
Of being able to do that? You can cut certain things out of certain conversations. So say you say something. We don't do this a whole lot because we believe in keeping the episodes raw. But if you do say something and you don't want that in there actually have been a couple occasions where we have said something, and it's really difficult when you are doing a podcast to find a place where, because you are forming a relationship with your listeners, it's really difficult to find a place where you're sharing enough information to where they feel like they know you, but you're not sharing too much information about your personal life, etc. And there have been certain situations where we've thought, we might not want that in there.
Right. Might want to cut that one out. So,
right.
Great points to bring up.
So what we'll do here is we actually have to go in and do this process for both audio tracks, and I'll show you this process. So what it'll look like, it'll export it like this, and it'll be track 1, track 2. So we'll import the first one. So it'll give you this message, and it's very, very important to make a copy of it. Make a copy of it. So we imported that, and then we'll go ahead and import track number 2. So what this is track number 1 was either me or Connor, and track number 2 was either me or Connor. I don't know which is which right now, looking at it. I think I started talking first, so this one looks like it's me. But so what we have here right now on Audacity is all of this stuff is going to be playing at the same time. So we'll play it back real quick and you'll hear what it sounds like.
Welcome to the official Forge Your Potential podcast. My name is Connor Skeen.
So as you can hear, we're talking alongside that. We don't want that. Of course not. So what you need to do is you go up to your little selector. You have several different selection options for this. And you want to go up to your selector, and this is your cursor. This is to differentiate fades,
And I'll show you. So an example would be right here. If you can see this, how that kind of fades out, and the track doesn't take up the entire box, the waves. I faded that down when I edited this intro right here, and made it a little quieter because I didn't want it to blow listeners' eardrums out. Because you got to play with the intensity of the audio a little bit sometimes. So what we want to do is select the position cursor, and the position cursor will allow us to actually drag each audio segment to where we want them to be. And as you can see, when you line it up perfectly, it's going to give you that alignment yellow line that goes down the middle. If you saw that, when I line it up here, see that alignment? It goes all the way down the middle. And once you let off the cursor, you've known that you've aligned that with the end of that track, and you're starting at the end. And that just helps you out a little bit more in the editing process. So what we want to do is also drag this one out to align with the beginning here. Now what you'll find is, for the most part, when you do record, if you have a mixer or something of that sort, it will export them to a single audio track, and you will not have to do this. This works a little bit better for more in-depth editing. There are certain things that you would want to do. We're not going to touch on any of those in this video, but there are certain things that you would need, like I was just talking about. If you need to take certain things out, if you need to edit certain things within what a person says, you would want this capability. But again, it does become problematic. Mm-hmm. And I'll show you why it becomes problematic here in a second. So you want to make sure these are perfectly lined up. So what we'll do here is we'll start it at the end of the intro, and we'll let it play in to where we were recording. Hello, welcome back to the third video in this course. This video is going to be all about audio editing software.
Dustin's specialty.
So yeah, okay. This is what this episode. As you can hear, it faded right in. There was a little bit of a delay that we probably want to get rid of. Now, I'll show you. This is where this is going to become problematic. So let's just, for example, let's go ahead and we will mute Connor. If you can see here, let's mute Connor. So now Connor will not be playing in the playback. So let's listen to this real quick. I'll just show you why this might become problematic. Hello, welcome back to the third video in this course. This video is going to be all about audio editing software.
Dustin's specialty.
Okay. So right there, we heard right in this area, we can still hear Connor registering on my mic. So that was not him playing from his track. It was playing on my track. So if these aren't lined up, a lot of the time you're going to hear residual sound from the other person. If you guys are sitting close enough together for it to be picked up, this could become problematic for you. So if you're going to use the Zoom and you're going to use the tactics that we've shown you, keep that in mind. It's not problematic if these tracks are perfectly lined up, because they were recorded in real time, and the sound from my mic is going to be phased out by his track anyway. But just keep that in mind. So what we're going to do here is we'll unmute Connor's track, and we'll go in here, and you can actually make sure the cursor is selected up here, not the movement cursor. Select the cursor, and then this will allow you to actually highlight certain segments of the audio. So what we'll do is we'll cut the beginning out. Now I'm just highlighting on my track. What you need to do is drag it down here, and then just get that, highlight that. Let off the cursor, it'll stay highlighted for you, and then all you need to do is hit delete on your keyboard. Once you delete that, it starts right as soon as the intro ends. Hello, welcome back to the third video in this. So that would be more of what you want. So going into this, now what I do when I'm editing audio is if you take the cursor and you double click on an audio track, it'll highlight the entire track. So what I do, this is just a real quick example of what I do. So, and this is completely up to you. It depends on how you want to go about your podcast, what you want to do. The best way to do this is you can either record the background noise without you speaking, just to get a silent profile. And what I've found is there's a lot of tutorials to teach you to do that. A better way to do this, and what we're trying to do here is we're trying to minimize the background noise in the track. That's super important. You don't want a lot of background noise in your track. Obviously, Connor and I, we go out and we record different locations, and we kind of enjoy some of that. We kind of enjoy capturing some of that background noise sometimes, but for the most part, you want to minimize that as much as possible. So what you'll do here is you can either record a flatline track or just a background noise track that'll kind of give you a silent profile, or you can go up here to generate, and you can generate silence. And we don't want it to generate. Let's just do 30 seconds. That sounds perfect. So we'll generate 30 seconds of silence. As you can see, there's 30 seconds there, just flat tone. And this will automatically be highlighted. Then you want to go to Effect, and you want to go to Noise Reduction. When you go to Noise Reduction, it'll give you this option. And now this is already preset to where you would want it to be. I would not advise messing around with this at all. But initially, when you go in here, before you do anything, you want to highlight the silence, go into Noise Reduction, get Noise Profile. And what that'll do is it'll make a copy of that background noise, and it'll try and replicate that background noise as much as possible when you apply it to the actual track. So once you've done that, you're fine to highlight this again and delete it, because we don't want that 30 seconds of silence in our recording. So we delete that, and then we go in and we'll highlight. Let's do the first track here. You have to do this for every track that you do. Effect, Noise Reduction, and then you want to just click OK, because all of these settings are by default where Audacity sees that you should be when reducing noise. So click OK. It'll give you a loading bar. It'll apply it to that. And then you want to do the same for this one. Effect, Noise Reduction, and then hit OK, because you already have your noise profile. And now the background noise has been minimized. I find it interesting because they used to, in the effects, it used to be called noise removal. And I think that was a little bit deceiving because people were saying,
right,
it's not removing all of the noise.
Yeah.
So they changed it to noise reduction, and it'll actually reduce your background noise, but it will not remove it. So be very, very conscientious of where you record, what's going on in the background. Oftentimes, that just becomes part of our mundane life, and we don't notice background noise as much as people will when they come to hear a podcast and expect professional audio quality.
Right. That's another great point about these headsets. We were talking about being able to listen to this audio quality on our sound checks, through the headsets. And listening to and hearing that background noise, if you have any, is super important to know whether or not in post, if you need to come in here and do some noise reduction, or if you need to find somewhere else to record if you are out and about.
Right. And, a lot of people are when they first start out, they're not really comfortable with going out and about and recording. So for the first little while, I don't see this being an issue for you. If you want to just jump right in, get the Zoom H6, go out and record, then this would be something you would need to pay attention to for sure. So now we have the intro, the content. This is what we recorded at the beginning, the very first video we shot. And then we want to fade it out. Now, the general rule of thumb is most podcasts are about an hour long. The general rule of thumb is you don't want any more than 30 seconds of an intro per hour. Now, I've heard that. I've heard that just from several different sources. We have a little bit more of 30 seconds. It doesn't really. It's really not that big of a deal. I just wouldn't go overboard with your intro. Just be straight to the point, super engaging, and just get it over with really quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people want to get to that content.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And it's for the most part, it's going to be the same thing every single time. So they already know what it sounds like.
It's
right?
true, yeah.
But
yep.
it's just adding to that professionalism.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you need to have something that's uniform at the beginning of your episodes, just to lead people in, get them hyped. As you can hear, our music is very
on the epic end of things.
On the epic end of things. So what we'll do here is all of this stuff has been pre-done. So I worked on this intro for a couple hours. This intro, I spliced audio, very, very extensive work on that. And you'll need to play around with that as well, using the tools that I've shown you, making things louder, making things quieter, just figuring out what sounds best for your audience, what sounds best to convey your message, all of that stuff. So now we'll import an outro. So we'll go in here, audio, file, import audio. And then wherever your destination is, we have this all set up so we can import. So we only have one outro, and we've kind of used the same outro. It works really well, and this is really just based on your preference. So now we have the outro, and when you import audio to Audacity, it's automatically going to put it at the beginning, create a new track for it, all of that stuff. What's really, really cool about this, though, is since this is a stereo track, so this was recorded for both right and left. So, for example, if you're listening to this with headphones, if this wasn't here, then you would only hear it on one ear, right? Mm-hmm. So some audio is exported that way, some isn't. You would need to pay attention to that as well. We have it set up, the Zoom is set up really well to where it records in mono, but it comes out, it plays as if it's stereo, right? So I don't want you to think that this is two tracks. This is one track. It's just a stereo track. This is two tracks. These are just two mono tracks. But they're both going to play in both as a stereo track in both ears, if that makes sense. And to be quite honest with you, I am not quite sure why it works that way or how it works that way.
Yeah, me either.
So what you're going to do here is go up again and do your selection to movement selection or movement cursor. Click that because we want to change the position here of where this is. That's not where we want it. And what I do, and I would recommend you do this as well, is I take this and I don't keep it on its independent track. I drag it up. Let's see, it's not working. Drag it up here to be on the intro track. And then what I do is this is now an empty track. It'll stay here, so just exit this out, delete it. So now what I've done is you can create a sound profile for each track. And listening to this post-production, I like to make it sound like the audio between the intro and the audio between the content is on the same level. It sounds close to the same. So we'll do that right now. I'll show you how I do that real quick. We'll leave this here. We'll mess with that in a second. So we'll click up here. Actually, we'll go over here. Hello. Hello, welcome back to the third video in this. So as you can hear, the content of the episode sounds a little quieter than the intro does, right? So what we'll do is we'll go over here and you can actually control the volume of each track independently. So we'll take this, and right now the gain is at 0. It's at a neutral level. We want to keep the left and right at a neutral level because that's balance. We want to keep it balanced between both ears. So we want to increase the gain. Let's increase the gain to 4. Now remember, we also have to increase the gain to 4 on Connor's track as well because these will be playing simultaneously. So they're both playing at 4 now, and we'll see if it sounds more closely to the volume of the intro. Hello, welcome back to the third video in this course.
So much better.
So much better. So much better. So that sounds really, really good. I like it. And the reason I do this is because sometimes it depends on where you're recording. It depends on what's going on around you. You're going to need to mess with the volume of things. It's going to change. It's not always going to be uniform. Of course, you can try and get it as uniform as possible with your technology. The fact of the matter is, it's going to differ. So why I keep this on the same track is because this track has the same noise profile. So if I need to go back in and change the volume of the intro, it'll also change the volume of the outro, right? And it'll keep it all uniform. So what we need to do is drag this to the very end of the episode. And what we've done here, this outro has also been created post-production. We spliced audio, made it. It's a really, really simple outro. But what we like to do is lead out with music in the background of the actual episode. And what you'll see here is this is how we've done this. I'll show you real quick, just a quick demonstration about how this is done. So we want to go up to our selection area here. Select the volume control cursor here, and then be able to go over here. And what you can do is you can actually play around with this, figure out how it works best for you. We can actually click here and make it larger. Take this and fade it out. See what I'm doing here? We can mess with the track. This is all, like I said, this has all been created post-production, and I've already done this to this audio sample. But doing this is a really, really good way of gauging how subtle you want that music to be in the background. And we find that works best for us. If you don't want to do that, if you just want to end the podcast and then kick out your outro song, then it's completely up to you. It doesn't really matter how you want to do it. We found that this is just the best way to do it for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just what we prefer. We think it sounds cool and we enjoy it, so that's
Absolutely.
the way it is.
Yeah, so this is what it'll sound like when you're coming to the end of the episode. The software that we use is completely free.
Huge plus.
Completely free, and it is, in my opinion, I love it. I wouldn't use anything else because I've just become so accustomed to it. So we'll show you everything.
Sounds great. We'll see you guys there.
Okay, so then the music picks up, and then it gets intense, and then it fades out at the very end there. Now, personally, listening back to that, I did not like that. I didn't like how loud the background music was. So there's a couple different options that you can do here. We could go back and mess with this a little bit, make it louder. Make it a couple decibels louder. Let's do 6, and we'll see how this sounds compared to the intro and compared to the outro. And let's reposition this outro a little bit better to where there's not as much of a gap before it gets intense as we end the episode. So we'll go in here. We'll start at the very beginning, the intro, and hello, welcome back to the third video in this course. This video is going to be so it sounds a little bit louder than the intro, but as compared to the outro, I think it'll be better. And what you can do is you can actually leave the outro on an independent track if you like, and get a little bit more versatile with the volume of everything. We've found that it works really well for us to keep these on the same track because they're pretty close to the same volume, both of them. So we can control those kind of like two birds with one stone type of deal. So then we'll do this, and we'll see what it sounds like fading out. The software that we use is completely free.
Huge plus.
Completely free, and it is, in my opinion, like I love it. I wouldn't use anything else because I've just become so accustomed to it. So that sounds a little bit better. A little bit better. It's not as annoying. We might even want to reduce that a little bit more, but I think you get the idea. And then it'll fade out. The episode, like I said, will be over at the end of the longest track that you have. So the video looks like it's going to end a little bit before 3 minutes, or the audio looks like it's going to end a little bit before 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So then, now that we've got this all exported, another thing is that I would like to check here is where this is based on. And it looks like it's still going to be a little bit too premature. So we'll play it right here.
We'll see you guys there.
So that sounds perfect to me.
Yeah, it sounded great.
Where it gets intense, and then we'll go up to File. We'll go up to Export Audio. Let's see here. So we'll name this Test. And then you can choose the format that you export it in. I recommend MP3 because it's the most compact audio file that you can really export as. And it'll take up less space on Libsyn when you upload it. So now that we've got the full track, we're going to export it to the desktop. And let's see. I don't know what happened.
We'll
here.
need a new name.
Let's
do Legion Academy.
Legion Academy. So, and then we'll export it. So now it's going to tell us that your track will be mixed down to 2 stereo tracks in the exported file, which is good. It's a good thing. You want that. You want your listeners. A lot of people listen to podcasts with headphones, and they're going to notice if it's not a stereo track.
Mm-hmm.
You can choose not to display this message again. It'll automatically be displayed for the first time you export something, and every time afterwards if you don't check this box. So we'll do that. Now this is what I was talking about with the metadata for the episode. Now this is data that is exclusive to your audio file, and it will be attached to the encrypted information on your audio file. This will always be attached to the audio file, so you want to go through and you want to name this effectively. You want to make sure that you actually do fill out these fields. This is very important. It's a lot more important than a lot of people really put emphasis on. So we'll just do the artist, FYP, track name, Legion Academy. Just because you named the track on the front end, it doesn't really mean anything because you can go in and change that anytime you want. This stuff is connected to the track, and it's going to stay there indefinitely. And then you can do things like the year. You can do things like the genre. There's tons of different things you can do here just to add a permanent signature to the track. And then once you're done, you click OK, and it will export to the dashboard. And this is going to obviously vary based on the length of your episode, the length of your track. And then what we'll do is we'll go in real quick here, and we'll minimize this, and we will go listen.
Welcome to the official Forge Your Potential podcast. My name is Connor Skeen.
And my name is Dustin Stevens.
We're here to lift you up, to awaken your potential.
To challenge your perspectives, to inspire you to push further.
We're 2 ordinary young men with an extraordinary desire to make a difference.
We're here. Episode's going to be all about audio feeding equipment.
Go
through here. So we'll show you everything.
Sounds great. We'll see you guys there.
And then it fades out slowly, and like I said, it ends at the very end of the last track. And that's it. That will be your episode. You have the MP3 file that you will then take and import or upload to Libsyn, and it'll publish to all of your various platforms out there that you are connected to.
Phenomenal. Wonderful walkthrough, Dustin.
amazing information that you guys will need to know in your editing process, whether you're utilizing Libsyn or GarageBand or whatever you're using to edit your audio post-production.
Yes.
Very, very important to bring up the metadata like you're talking about, very important aspect of the process. And just to give you guys an idea of what goes in to the editing, and quite honestly, I mean, it's just kind of getting yourself well-versed with what things look like, what buttons do what, and a lot of this is just utilizing it and getting familiar with it. And you know, it's very streamlined, very user-friendly, very simple to do. And again, it just goes back to how valuable and easy podcasts are to really produce and get out there.
Right. Definitely. And one more thing I wanted to point out before we ended this video is that this also has the capability, if you don't want to pre-record on something and upload and import, you can record directly to Audacity. And we have done this in the past. We've actually used GarageBand in the past, and we've used Audacity in the past to record directly to it. And that's super simple, super streamlined. You see right here, there's a record button. I'm not sure where this is going to pull from if we start recording, but let's just give it a shot. So we'll do the cursor icon, and we'll mark where we want to start recording. Wherever you click is where you're going to start recording. We'll start recording something. It's going to make an independent track, and it looks like it is picking up something.
Yep, picking up something from somewhere. It looks like.
Yeah, and you can actually record to Audacity and then edit that recording afterwards. Super, super awesome. Audacity can do anything you want. You can monitor the gain in real time, see if you're too loud, see if you're too quiet, all of that stuff. So we'll stop the recording, and we'll listen back to it real quick. It's going to make an independent track, and it looks like it is picking up something.
Yep.
All right, so it seems like it was recording from the Mac.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's how versatile Audacity is, and it's free, completely free to use. I think it's going to be forever free.
I think so.
The company that made it set out to produce free audio editing software. So
phenomenal. Well, good stuff, guys. Jump down to the next video and join us on there. We'll see you there.